Hello and welcome to Newsbreak Chats. Ako po si Chai Hofelenia, ang editor ng Newsbreak. Ang Newsbreak ay ang investigative section ng Rappler at dito nyo rin mababasa ang long-form stories at ilang explainers na siyang tutulong sa inyong makaintindi ng mga malalaking issues of the day. Dahil malapit na ang May 13 elections, magiging every week na ang Newsbreak Chats upang matutukan natin ang ilang issues na mahahalaga at karamihan sa mga issues na to ay election-related. Para sa ating kwentuhan ngayong araw na ito, naimbitahan natin si Attorney Emil Marañon III. Siya yung nakasama natin the other week before Holy Week. Siya ay isang election lawyer at dati siyang Chief of Staff ni retired Comelec Chairman Sixto Brillantes Jr. Hello, Emil.
Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon. Yeah, good to be back.
Okay. I'd like to take off lang from the recent piece that you wrote for Rappler on vote buying.
Yes.
Parang doon, sinabi mo na vote buying does not just involve payment of money.
Yes, that is correct.
So, iba-ibang forms ba ang vote buying?
Yeah. So, ang conventional knowledge ng vote buying is that bibigyan ka ng pera kasama ng sample ballot. Pag kinanggap mo, then that's vote buying. But actually, if you read the law, very expansive actually yung batas. So, hindi lang actually yung pagbibigay una ng cash or money, but anything of value. So, when you say anything of value, that's virtually everything because everything has value. Every item has value. Kahit pamaypay, t-shirt.
Pati yun?
Pati yun, exactly.
Will qualify as
Will
vote
qualify
buying?
as vote buying. Because ang nakalagay sa batas, when you give anything of value, then that is vote buying, especially na yung intention mo actually is to encourage voters to vote for you. So, kung titingnan ninyo, very common practice actually among politicians. Now, when they go around, they would carry with them t-shirts, pamaypay, lighter, pinamimigay nila sa botante. But again,
Pati
if you
ballers,
yeah, ballers,
diba?
yeah.
Very common yan.
Exactly. So, payong lahat na, tapos may nakapaskil na pangalan, official color ng candidate or party, pinamimigay nila. But actually, if you read the law, it's technically vote buying. So, but titingnan natin, walang pumapansin. Walang nagpa-file ng case, yung Comelec hindi na pinapansin. But if you read the law, it's actually vote buying.
But where do you draw the line? Kasi pwede rin i-argue na promotions yun advertising yun on the part of the candidate, lalo na kung hindi siya kilala, di ba?
Yes.
First time na tumakbo, hindi naman siya celebrity. So, yun, these are natural ways of promoting himself or herself.
Well, babalik tayo dun sa definition ng batas. Sabi ng batas, ano yung tinatawag na lawful election propaganda? So, all of these items, all of these materials that have the tendency of promoting one's candidacy is called a propaganda. So, while these t-shirts, payong, etc. are election propaganda, but the question is, are they lawful? So, pag binasa mo yung enumeration ng batas kung ano yung lawful election propaganda, very clear hindi sila kasama doon. Yung nakalagay doon is pamphlet, di ba? Sample ballots, posters, di ba? So, technically, mga posters yan, anong value niya? Kung may bibigyan ka ng parang pamphlet, for example, nakalagay yung name, advocacy ng candidate. That's a clear election propaganda kasi ini-exemption ng batas. So, ang aking idea dyan is anything outside of this na capable of being given value would constitute actually as vote buying pag pinambibigay mo.
So, dapat ang ibibigay mo ay walang value?
Value. Kung meron man, basta pasok siya doon sa definition ng batas na lawful election propaganda.
But so far, meron na bang nag-file ng case? In relation to this?
Oo. Yun na nga, ang problema nga dito is because people have a misunderstanding kung ano yung sakop or saklaw ng vote buying. So very limited cases yung nafa-file. So yung always na issue is yung talaga namimigay ng pera. But then again, we have to consider na hindi lang yon. So apart from that, na hindi necessarily money yung dapat ibigay, yung titinan din natin is, ang sabi din sa batas, is even a promise to give or an offer to give is already vote buying. So, hindi mo kailangan magbigay ng pera. For example, pag nakita yung botante, pag binoto nyo ako, bibigyan ko kayo ng 1,000 isa-isa.
Vote
That's
buying yun.
that's already vote buying. That's already consummated vote buying.
Pero how do you monitor that? Kasi kung promise, verbal,
Yes.
tapos it's done between two people,
Yeah.
yung nangako and
Yeah.
the potential voter.
Yes. Yeah, as with all cases naman, election offense cases, everything matter of evidence yan. So for example, if someone would go up sa stage during a campaign rally, would announce, pag nanalo ako, boboto nyo ako, bibigyan ko kayo ng 1,000 pesos each. If someone, for example, records that, then that would already be a very strong evidence ng vote buying.
Pero
Diba?
like, halimbawa, itong campaign for
Yes.
the May elections, ang dami-daming kandidatong nagbigay ng all sorts of things.
Yeah,
diba?
exactly.
Ballers.
Exactly.
Yun yung
Yeah.
pinaka-common.
Yeah, and there are even like videos of them doing caravans and nagdi-distribute
Yes,
actually ng
nagtatapon.
t-shirt.
Oo.
So for me, that's already evidence. And yun na nga yung sinasabi ko always na if you feel na this is wrong, especially if kalaban mo yung nambibigay and you actually stand to benefit if ma-disqualify sila, so why not pursue the case?
Baka lahat ma-disqualify.
Exactly. But that's the point. I mean, as a candidate, it's your obligation to know the law. Diba? So, kung hindi ka nag-follow ng batas, then you have to suffer the consequence. As simple as that. Diba?
Siguro, the candidates will say, hindi realistic tong batas na to. Parang, dapat na naman siyang baguhin. I
Yeah.
remember in
Yeah.
our last discussion,
Yes.
parang ganun din yung conclusion natin, di ba?
Yes.
The law is not,
Yes.
it's outdated.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
antiquated.
I mean, yun nga, exactly. Unless the law is changed or amended or revised, then the law stands. And while it's still there, everyone is actually required to comply with it. So, kung hindi nyo binago yan, kayo naman ang sa poder eh. And then you have to suffer the consequence kung feeling nyo may problema sa batas.
Sinabi mo rin that yun nga, if you read the law very closely, yung violator is not only the candidate or
Yes.
his ward
Yes.
leaders or his
Yeah.
political
Yeah.
camp na namibigay ng
Yes.
pera and anything of
Yes.
value,
Yes.
but even the person who
Yes.
accepts.
Yeah. I think ang intention ng batas is it's really difficult to prove yung tinatawag nating link between the person doing the vote buying and the candidate. Because what I wrote in my article is that no candidate is that stupid actually. Na siya mismo may mimigay ng 1,500. So always someone would do it for them. And if you read the law, hindi required na i-prove mo na may link yung nambibigay dun sa kandidato. Ang sinasabi lang sa batas is any person. Again, ang term is any person. Hindi niya sinabing candidate. So any person who would give money or anything of value to induce the voters to vote for a particular candidate. To give you an example, ako, I support candidate A. I don't know candidate A, but I support him. I believe in his advocacy. So what will I do is, I would give everyone o 500, o boto niyo si A because I support him. There's no link between us. There's no, wala naman kaming napagkasunduan. I don't know him. But I gave money to induce the voters to vote for candidate A. That is already vote buying.
That is vote
Yeah,
buying as well.
because pasok siya sa any person who gives money para iboto yung isang kandidato.
Conversely, if I were an operator and gusto kong mapahamak si candidate
Yeah,
B,
yeah.
what I can do also is distribute anything of value,
Yes.
not necessarily
Yeah,
money,
yeah.
and sabihin na it was done by his camp or I'm doing it in his name.
Yeah. So we have to dissect the case. As regards dun sa operator, he is already guilty under the law. You know, pwedeng mag-stop lang doon, 'di ba? Ngayon, ang link between the political operator and the candidate is another thing.
Okay.
So, kailangan din actually ng whoever yung nag-a-accuse na i-prove by evidence na actually it was the candidate who actually yung nag-utos doon sa political operator to do the vote buying. So, that's another layer of evidence required. So, that's how we should dissect the case. So, ngayon, if, for example, it's the political operator who would say na it's actually the candidate A who told me to do vote buying, then he's the one who is accusing, so he has the burden of proving it. Diba?
Don't you see na if the law were to be implemented very strictly, the Comelec will be deluged with electoral cases, more than it can probably handle.
Now, I think we have to understand as well na I think 5 to 10 years ago, Congress actually amended ang batas natin, ang Omnibus Election Code. Before kasi, yung may exclusive original jurisdiction over the prosecution ng election offense cases is actually Comelec. So after the law was amended, sinabi ng Kongreso na it is actually shared with the regular prosecutors. Yeah. So you can file as well sa inyong prosecutor sa city nyo or sa
So, RTC, ordinary courts.
Yeah, sa ordinary courts. Well, we have to take note na Comelec doesn't actually Comelec doesn't have jurisdiction over the actual trial ng election offense, like vote buying. Ang Comelec actually acts as the prosecutor. Tapos, ang gagawin ng Comelec is the moment na may makita siyang probable cause, then Comelec will actually file the necessary case before the appropriate court. Okay. So, ang role ng Comelec again is a prosecutor. So, same sila ng role ng regular prosecutor natin. So, someone who has a complaint for vote buying has the option actually to go either sa Comelec or with the regular prosecutor. So, yung sinasabi mo na baka bahain yung Comelec ng reklamo, then medyo natitemper yon because of the fact na you can actually go with your local prosecutor.
So, hindi lang Comelec.
Hindi lang Comelec, exactly.
Okay. Babalikan ko lang yung yung the usual, the common form of vote buying,
Yes.
no, which is money.
Yes.
In 2013, ang sabi nila, parang like in areas in like katulad ng Samar, which is a very it's a poor province, parang area, sinasabi nila na per head umaabot ng as much as 1,000 pesos ang bayaran. But of course, this was 2016. It was a presidential election. Meron ba kayong natatanggap na, well, in terms of amounts, no? Ano ba yung average?
Yeah.
Are these rates normal? 1,000 pesos per head?
Yeah. Well, to give you an idea, actually, I've heard cases na mas sobrang taas dyan. For example, I've heard that in Lanao del Sur, it's 10,000 per person.
10,000?
10,000 per person. And to give you an idea, in my place in Iloilo, in 1995, so I was grade 5. There was a candidate, hindi ko napapangalanan ko sino, but he ran in our district actually. He gave 5,000 per voter. 1995.
Wow.
Imagine 1995. And
Nanalo siya?
yes, of course he won. So ang titingnan natin is gaano ba kadesperado yung kandidatong manalo? Of course, you have to assess gaano kalakas yung kalaban. Of course, pag alam nilang malakas yung kalaban, then the rates go really high as well. So I've heard na may places na 10,000, may 5,000. Actually, 1,000 is quite median. And then meron din cases na usually 500 lang pag walang kalaban. Or minsan pa sobre-sobre lang 200, 300. So, depende sa lugar, depende kung gaano ka-desperado.
Pero pag national, normally mas mataas ang rates.
No, baliktad actually.
Local.
Yung national candidates who not usually do vote buying. Because come to think of it, there are around how many millions? 60 million voters. So it's really impossible for a national candidate to do vote buying. What national candidates do is actually give financial support to local candidates para i-carry sila.
Tama.
But yung talagang gumagastos are actually the local candidates. Because it's a small jurisdiction. Citywide. Sometimes he would do targeting as well. Ibig sabihin, i-trace nila ano yung pinakamahirap na barangay in that city, and they would actually focus on that. Diba? So, depende sa lugar.
Yung mayoral contests, dyan madalas.
Yes, and sometimes sa local, the whole state would actually pool money So magko-contribute yung mayor, lahat ng tumatakbong councilor, they would pool money to come up with an amount, and yun yung gagamitin na pambili ng boto per person.
And how does it work? I'm sure you've monitored this noon when you were with the Comelec and hanggang ngayon. Ano yung operations? Ano yung may hierarchies ba yan? May organization ba yan?
Well, yun na nga yung issue because it is unfortunate actually na the vote buying actually is done by barangay leaders. And sometimes, ang masama pa dun, barangay officials pa. That is why may debate ngayon on whether barangay officials should actually be allowed to be partisan. Are they allowed to campaign? So it's a big debate. So my former boss, Sixto Brillantes, and of course, Attorney Macalintal, is saying na they are allowed to campaign. They are allowed to do electioneering. In my case, I wrote a piece saying na actually they're not allowed. So alam ko it's under consideration ng Comelec kung ano talaga yung interpretation ng batas. But it's a very interesting question because as regards vote buying, may papel actually na ginagampanan yung mga barangay officials because they are the one who know actually kung sino nakatira sa barangay, sinong alam nila kung ano yung persuasion ng bawat isa. Alam nila which family is voting for a certain candidate. Of course, when you do vote buying, tatargetin mo yung ayaw yung hindi boboto sa'yo. Yeah.
At saka syempre, kung barangay captain ka, incumbent, in power,
Yes.
with authority,
Yes.
meron kang sway, may hold ka over people who
Yes.
are under you.
Yes, that is correct.
Mas persuasive
Yes.
in effect.
At saka, of course, vote buying works kasi because they would always represent na if you receive money from me, I can trace. At saka kilala ko kayo kasi iisang barangay tayo. I would know kung boboto niyo or hindi. So may close personal relationship na in a way it affects yung question na malalaman ba nila or hindi na binenta natin or binoto natin yung nagbigay sa atin ng pera, something like that. So usually how it operates is it operates through the barangay or yung mga community leaders. They are the one who's doing the vote buying.
Paano kung kasi the other thing I think that's also being exploited is yung cultural values,
Yes,
'di ba?
yes.
Yung utang na loob. So parang pinaaral kita dati, pinautang kita dati, dapat iboto mo ko or iboto mo yung kandidato ko.
Yes.
That's also vote buying?
Depende din. Kasi right for example, if government official ka, people have to think actually na whatever they spend, including yung pera na ginamit nila sa pag-deliver ng basic services, hindi actually pera ng kandidato yun, but pera ng bayan yun. Pera ng taxpayer yun. So they should never see na may utang na loob sila doon sa kandidato. And also, isipin din natin na pag delivery ng basic services yan, if pag nag-deliver ka, it's not vote buying. Because actually the best way of advertising your quality as a leader is if actually kung nakapag-deliver ka ba sa constituents mo or hindi. Diba? Ang sinasabi ng batas sa vote buying is directly yung mambibigay ka in consideration na gusto mo iboto ka ng mga botante. Yeah. So yan. However, we have to take note as well that one form of vote buying is actually making a promise to spend government money for a particular community. So it's
yung mga infrastructure projects.
Not just that. For example, when, di ba, if you have attended a meeting de avance or for example, you've attended like a caucus, you always hear politicians saying na, pag manalo ako, papatayo ako ng barangay hall, ng basketball court.
Basketball courts, very common.
Papatayo ako ng bridge, ganyan. Again, that's also vote buying. It's under the law, when the definition of vote buying, sabi doon, if you do a promise to do a future expenditure for a community or a particular group, that's also vote buying. But then again, no one notices that. Walang nagpa-file na kaso about that. Because most people, again, don't understand ano ba talaga yung scope or saklaw ng vote buying.
So, when you were with the Comelec, meron bang nag-file? Ilan?
Yeah. Well,
if ever?
I remember a very controversial case way back in 2013. We were still in Comelec. Merong winning candidate. In fact, he won as mayor of Norzagaray, Bulacan. So,
2013
yeah. Nahulihan sila actually ng sample ballots na may naka-attach na pera, 1,000 and 500. 1,000 at meron ding 500. And apart from that, nakita dun sa kanilang headquarters na around 800,000 pesos cash na nakaipit yung sample ballot.
8,000.
800,000.
Oh, 8. Okay.
800,000. So that is in Norzagaray, Bulacan. And to my knowledge, that is the only case actually na nag-pursue. In fact, na-disqualify yung nanalong mayor doon because of vote buying. So people have to understand kasi na vote buying, may dalawang consequences yan. You have the administrative and you have the criminal.
Okay.
You know, a candidate was actually found guilty of vote buying. Kahit nanalo ka, you'll be disqualified from office. Hindi ka makakaupo. Apart from the fact hindi ka makakaupo, pwede ka pang kasuhan ng Comelec ng criminal offense. Pwede ka makulong from 1 year to 6 years.
Maximum of 6 years.
Maximum of 6 years, including a penalty of perpetual disqualification from holding public office. Ganun ka sakit pag nahuli ka, pag na-found guilty ka ng vote buying. So you have administrative liability and you have criminal liability as well.
Pero how long did that case take? Kung 2013
Yes.
yung case,
Yes.
kailan siya found guilty?
Yung ang nangyari doon, I think he was caught May 2013 because yun yung election natin. I think the case was decided October 2013, so that's June, July, August, September, October, 5 months, which is actually quite fast.
Oo nga, mabilis yun.
Mabilis yun. Yeah. But then again, I think at that time, there's a clamor, public clamor. Bakit walang nahuhuli sa vote buying?
Yes.
And to a certain extent, Comelec was pressured to deliver.
Kaya minadali niya.
Yeah, I mean, ako nga, I will not term it as minadali because under the law, it's your obligation to resolve cases as fast as you can.
And especially if there was evidence.
Yeah, very strong evidence of that.
How about technology? Parang now you have money transfers, you
Yes.
have load. Parang these are the things na medyo under the radar din and mahirap i-monitor ng Comelec. Does this make the task of, I guess, running after vote buying in these forms more difficult?
So parang electronic vote buying? No, but the thing is, you have to remember na sino ba yung usually target ng vote buying? Ang target ng vote buying are usually those from classes ED kasi sila alam mo yung mape-persuade ng pera eh. So if you target classes AB, for example, these are the educated, probably employed, yung parang part ng society natin. So even if you give them money, they probably refuse it or perhaps tatanggapin yan but hindi ka iboboto. So ang primary na target yan is actually yung classes probably CDE. And usually eto din yung tao na walang access sa smartphones, walang access with yung electronic transfer or ganyan. So for me, ang form of vote buying, if we want to target these classes actually, is still like money or grocery or gano'n. Basic needs pa rin. Talagang i-hand mo sa kanila yung pera.
Curious ako, how about automation? Parang you'd expect kasi part of modernizing the electoral process, na-automate na siya.
Yes.
Nagre-reflect ba ito in the vote buying practices?
Well, before kasi of course, we have to think, lahat ng kandidato, ano bang gusto mong ma-achieve as a candidate? Gusto mong ma-achieve na manalo, di ba? So some people would do campaigning, but some other candidates would think of cheating actually. In other words, shortcut to a public office. So, yung noong unang panahon, sometimes yung feeling nila hindi sila mananalo, they would actually commit cheating. So it's either na mandadaya ka sa bilangan, di ba? Or magkaroon ka ng dagdag bawas. But all of these problems as regards canvassing and counting were solved actually by the automation ng election. So ngayon, for me, ang hirap dayain, if not, I'm quite confident in saying na imposibleng dayain actually yung makina. So, ang mismong bilangan, for me, it's accurate. Tapos, even the canvassing transmission, for me, it's very, very difficult actually to cheat there. That is why, yung na-observe namin, nung nag-start yung automation ng 2010, tapos tumuloy yung 2013, 2016 elections, it's actually, nag-shift na rin ng mode of cheating yung mga kandidato. Yung mga scrupulous candidates, they actually changed their mode of cheating. So ngayon, they're targeting extraneously naman. So ano ibig sabihin nun? For example, one of the effects niyan is actually yung increase or proliferation ng vote buying cases. Apart from that, of course, you have threats, intimidation, violence, etc., etc. So hindi na nila tina-target yung makina, but rather, what they do is to increase their funding with vote buying.
Mas tumindi ba ang vote buying sa the arm areas, the usual areas na suspected na merong cheating noon, yung dagdag bawas operations?
Well, depende din kasi sa lugar. Because, for example, if walang election doon in the first place, then why would you do vote buying? Diba? Because we all know, documented in a lot of places in the country, na actually hindi na nagkakaroon ng eleksyon, hina-hijack na lang yung balota, dadalhin sa isang lugar, one person would shade the ballots and one person would feed all the ballots. So it's a one-person election. So in those cases, actually, there's no need to vote buying. What for? I mean, sa'yo na lahat 100% ng balota eh. So, yung vote buying, hindi lang actually yung proliferation niya sa ARM, but all over the country. Again, I wrote a case, another article about vote buying actually, I think way back in 2016. There was a study saying na ang proliferation actually ng vote buying is actually a symptom of how bad yung estado ng mga tao sa isang bansa. So, ibig sabihin, mas mahirap yung isang bansa, mas mataas yung cases ng vote buying. Of course, the reason is obvious. Kung wala kang makain, umiyak yung anak mo, dahil gutom sila, wala kang maibigay. Don't you think na yung 1,000 na ibibigay ng kandidato sa'yo, hindi mo tatanggapin? I think, it's something na, it's the reality in the ground na mahirap yung buhay.
So you're saying vote buying is still a factor, parang ano pa rin siya, related pa rin siya to poverty.
Yes, exactly. In fact, there was a study, I read this very interesting book way back in 2016 elections. Way back in 2016. It talked about the proliferation of vote buying sa United States at saka sa England during the 19th century because life was hard. So can you imagine, of course, wala na tayong naririnig na vote buying sa Amerika, di ba? But sinasabi doon na nung time na yon na mahirap yung situation, there was actually vote buying. So yung sabi ng libro, ang message is very simple. If you want to solve vote buying, you should actually do something about the economic situation ng taong bayan. Because so long as mahirap, maraming hindi nakakakain, maraming desperado, vote buying will go on.
So the way to stop it is to work on the economy.
Yes, of course, you have to improve the lives. Because for example, both of us are employed, we have, kumikita tayo. So, for us, it's easy to say no sa pera na ibibigay sa atin ng kandidato. Kasi sometimes na makaka-insulto ka pa, ay, ba't mo ko bibigyan? Ganyan. But it's not the same case with everyone. Ang reality sa ground is mahirap yung buhay and receiving money, in fact, would mean like ilang days na pagkain for your family. In fact, it's so funny na sa maraming lugar sa Pilipinas, alam ko sa Samar, even sa Lanao del Sur, as in walang natitira ni isang dilata or noodles sa store. Like literally empty yung supermarket a day before election. Ganon kasama yung sitwasyon. And I've heard a lot of stories like that. Na a day before the election, kung saan yung bigayan ng pera, walang matitira ni isang item sa grocery. Ubus lahat ng tao yan. Because may pera sila. Because of vote buying.
So dapat pala ang mga reporters titingnan yung areas
it's a very interesting study.
Ubus ang groceries.
Yeah.
Okay, how about ordinary citizens, poll watchers? What can they do on election day or even prior to election day itself?
Yung sinabi ko nga na if you want vote buying to stop, hindi lang dapat titingnan natin na solitary obligation to ng Comelec. Dapat may role yung ating law enforcement agencies like PNP, may role yung ating election watchdogs, may role din dapat yung normal na Pilipino, yung taong bayan. So dapat hindi lang iasa sa Comelec. Because of course Comelec, wala naman siyang tao to actually guard every square inch of the Philippines. But always may tao sa buong Pilipinas. And most of them have access sa smartphone, baka may CCTV pa. So actually, it's easier now to gather evidence on vote buying. Because, I mean, syempre makikita mo, for example, sa bahay ni Barangay Captain, labas-pasok yung 100 tao doon a day for election.
Mahabang pila.
Mahaba yung pila. Ano pa ba yun? Kung makuna mo ng CCTV yun. Diba? So it can be it could be a very crucial evidence actually na may ganung CCTV footage ka. And you also as well you also have like smartphones that can take videos or take photos.
Paano kung sabihin nung kinunan mo, filean ka ng counter case, no? Violation of privacy.
No, you have to think kasi na you have to consider may rule kasi yung jurisprudence yan regarding the right to privacy. If yung kinukunan mo ng video or photo is a place where there is no expectation of privacy, then actually there's no violation ng right to privacy. Example, if it's a public highway, may CCTV doon, 'di ba? You don't expect naman siguro na nabibigyan ka ng privacy kung naglalakad ka doon. It's a different case, for example, if nilagyan ng CCTV yung private quarters mo or yung sarili mo bahay sa loob, then there's an expectation of privacy within your private quarters, di ba?
So kung bahay ni Mayor, halimbawa,
outside,
gate ng bahay, and then may nakita kang mahabang pila ng mga botante, kinunan mo sila, video and pictures, photo, evidence, pwede bang magsabi si Mayor na may violation of privacy because that is my private property?
No, for me wala because unang-una, private property mo ngayon, but kung sa labas naman ng bahay mo?
Kasi labas na ng gate.
Labas ng gate. Kung extended, for example, yung linya. And at the end of the day, you think sasabihin niya yun? For me, I would take that as an implied admission actually na guilty ka nga. I mean, if maging philosopher ka as regards that issue. For me, mas madali mag-prosecute at mag-gather ng evidence ngayon compared mo to like 5 years or 10 years ago. Ngayon kasi every street corner, even nga private homes, may CCTV na. So it's easy actually to build a case. May CCTV footage ka ng pila, meron kang kopya ng sample ballot with money, diba? Meron kang makuhang isang tao na tumanggap to give you an affidavit, that's already a solid case of vote buying. But then again, the problem here sa Pilipinas is that everyone complains pero wala naman nagpupursue na seryoso.
But I think that's also because wala nang tiwala rin sa courts or merong fear na dalin ko to sa korte, I will be intimidated, I will be harassed, lalo na may social media, and my life can be in danger. So tatahimik na lang ako.
Yes, yun na nga. But then again, then wag kang magreklamo na wala nang kukulong sa vote buying. It's very simple as that. Because if you really want na tumigil to, may ma-prosecute to, then there should be someone who should be brave enough to actually come out with the evidence, yung kaya na pangatawanan yung i-offer na evidence. Ang problema kasi dito nakikita ko, everyone is happy na ipopost na siya sa Facebook, sa Twitter, and they feel na yun na yun. But siguro if ayaw talaga nila na i-pursue because of some safety concerns, they can actually probably send the video either to Comelec or dun sa kalaban ng kandidato for them to actually pursue the case.
Or can they, halimbawa, kilala nila yung poll watchers. Poll watchers nung a certain candidate or a certain party. Pwede bang dalhin niya yung evidence to the poll watcher and the poll watcher takes care of everything?
Well, depende naman yan kung willing yung poll watcher, baka takot din. Pero in other words, what they can do is actually go to the proper authorities. Actually, for example, they can go to the law department of Comelec, go to the election officers, kung sino mapapagkatiwalaan nila. Because at the end of the day, kailangan natin maging vigilant, kailangan natin maging matapang if we really want to pursue cases involving vote buying. Hindi pwede na okay ka na sa pag-post sa Facebook or ano. or
Merong,
Twitter.
I remember na there was a resolution on the part of the Comelec. Meron siyang resolution before, and I think this was probably intended to curb yung flow of money.
Yeah.
So parang binalikan ko parang nagkaroon ng election money ban.
Yes, I remember that. I was also actually part of the. It was actually it was actually an idea of my former boss, Chairman Sixto Brinales Jr. Because ang idea namin noon was that sa part ng voters, ang sabi ko nga kanina, dahil mahirap yung kalagayan ng bansa, mahirap yung buhay, people will really accept money regardless of what happened. So what you can actually control is the flow of money. So what you will actually cripple is actually the vote buyers, not the vote seller. Because always ang solution natin is we'll actually stop yung pagdaloy ng pera to the vote sellers. But we never thought about the idea of actually making it difficult for vote buyers to actually gain money. Because one thing na observe namin is there's actually a huge cash flow like 3 or a week before elections. Like yung withdraw ng pera talaga is like massive. So, ang inisip naman namin kung normal campaign expense yan, then hindi naman ganun na isang bultuhan.
At saka a week or two before elections.
Well, to give the viewers na hindi familiar with the case, what happened was that under the Constitution, the Comelec has the power to deputize any government agency. And that includes the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. Now, the Bangko Sentral of the Pilipinas has the authority over banks. Now, so we basically deputize central banks saying na you restrict withdrawal of cash of more than 100,000 on this number of days before elections. You know? Kasi ngayon, may concern ng mga banks. Sabi nila, what if gusto kong bumili ng kotse? Yun naman. So paano you will hinder the economy, business and all? But yung point naman namin was very simple. Ang punto noon was, hindi ka ba makapag-antay ng 3 days after kung gusto mo bumili ng kotse? At saka sino ba yung bumibili ng kotse ng cash? Wala naman, di ba? Unless na super yaman ka. But then again, hindi ka talaga makaantay ng 3 days. You know? But what happened there was, I think an association of banks or a bank actually filed a case with the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court issued a temporary restraining order to Comelec not to implement the money ban.
And the TRO is still
Yeah,
there?
so ang TRO was hindi na lift before election, therefore hindi na implement yung money ban. Okay. Now, the case after a year ata was decided by the Supreme Court. And in fact, the Supreme Court has a very, very interesting ruling. The Supreme Court did not say that the Comelec doesn't have the power. What the Supreme Court said was it was moot in academic. You know, for us, it's crucial. Bakit? Kasi it's if you read the Constitution, the most powerful government agency actually during elections is Comelec.
Yes.
Because it can take over the armed forces, it can take over the PNP, it can take over all franchise holders, it can take over all airline companies, all bus companies, all jeepneys.
So much power.
So much power. It can take over Meralco, it can take over Manila Water, lahat. Including all government agencies, including Bangko
So,
Sentral.
pwedeng buhayan ulit yan. I mean, it was moot and academic because nga tapos na yung elections.
Yes.
But if you have a new Comelec, maybe a very aggressive Comelec chairman, he can resurrect something like this.
Yeah, but the problem with money ban is it works because of the surprise factor of it. Na hindi nila alam, and then you suddenly impose it, then hindi sila makapag-withdraw. But wala nang surprise factor, baka yung mga magagaling nating candidate nag-withdraw na like a week before, kasi baka may
Baka magkaroon ng ganong ban.
Pero ang point of all of this is that in hindsight, I mean that was 2013, 2019 na ngayon, that was like 6 years ago. What I appreciated sa fact is Comelec and bank at that time actually offered a solution. I mean, it's debatable whether it's the correct solution, but at least nag-isip ng solusyon and try to implement it. Yeah. And that is actually what I wish yung gawin ng Comelec. you be creative, you think outside the box, and you actually offer the public a solution to election problems. Ayaw ko yung parang yung defeatist na mentality na, malala na yung vote buying, pabayaan mo na lang yan. Dapat hindi ganon. So, regardless of whether tama or mali, whether tamang approach yun or hindi, ang punto doon is, I think, in all fairness to my former boss, na he did something. And yun yung hindi mo maki-question na wala siyang ginawa.
Last question siguro.
Sure.
We've talked about vote buying for good 30 minutes. Siguro if you were to summarize it, parang why are we paying too much attention to vote buying? Why do we want it to stop?
Yeah. Well, ang reason with vote buying is that unang-una, ang tanong dyan, gumastos yung kandidato ng milyon-milyon para mamili yung boto. Ang tanong dyan, saan niya kukunin or papaano niya babawiin yung ginastos niya after elections? Diba? Siguro, hindi na mahirap hulaan kung saan. Because we know that either mangungurakot yan or mangungumisyon yan sa government contracts. Yan. And when he does that, then we all know kung sino yung nagsasuffer in the end. Because the moment you steal money from government, of course, ano yung gagamitin ng gobyerno sa pag-deliver ng kanyang mga serbisyo? Of course, wala. So, the government end up not delivering the basic services. Walang gamot, walang panggastos, 'di ba? Because na kinurakot na nga ni mayor. On the other hand, yung pangungumisyon, may mandatory cut si mayor, may 10%, may pa 20% commission siya. And you end up with bad contractors getting government contracts. Ngayon, anong ending niya? We have bad buildings, we have bad roads. Especially ngayon, lumindol the other days. Parang naisip ko, okay, my God, yung mga government buildings natin na mamaya yung poor quality ng semento, baka bigla na lang diba? Bumigay. So, ang punto ko doon is, we want to put a solution sa vote buying precisely because we know that in the long term, harmful to sa tao. Because ultimately,
exactly, yes.
It's actually yung taong bayan actually yung magsasuffer sa vote buying. Because actually, nanakawin doon uli sa atin yung pinambigay din sa atin. So, ang ano ko lang dito is that people should think long term. Kung anong effect niyan. But then again, ang sinasabi ko nga naman, it's convenient for us to say that. Because we have enough siguro resources naman to say no to vote buying. But the reality in the ground na is mahirap talaga yung buhay. That is why I wrote this article na we probably need to revisit yung ating batas sa vote buying to actually decriminalize vote selling and actually double mo yung penalty ng vote buying. Yeah? So ibig sabihin ipapunish mo ng husto-husto
yung namimili.
Because ang fact of life naman is mahirap, talagang tatanggap yan. Not because na gusto nilang ipahamak yung gobyerno or gusto nilang maglagay ng hindi qualified, but yung fact is mahirap talaga yung buhay. So, ang tingnan natin dito is yung vote buying rather than vote selling. So, we need to actually sit down and consider yung reality sa ground and then try to actually revisit yung rules sa vote buying. Ano ba talagang proper approach? Should we punish vote buying? Decriminalize vote selling? Should we double actually the penalty for vote buying? Ganun. So there are so many things na pwedeng pag-usapan. But unfortunately, ang law natin sa vote buying, way back 1985 pa, again, it's part of our omnibus election code na I think last na interview natin is sinabi nga natin na very outdated na. We badly need to revisit ang ating omnibus election code. Because again, because of bad laws, the people end up suffering.
Yeah.
So, same case with vote buying, di ba?
Okay. Thank you very much, Emil.
Ang dami kong sinabi.
Pero hindi, totoo lahat yun eh. Ang dami talagang outdated. And we really have to, as you put it, we really have to revisit the laws and make sure that they are in keeping with the times.
Yeah, exactly.
So, thank you very much for joining us. As Emil pointed out, we would want ordinary citizens, we would want the watchdogs, the electoral watchdogs, to be very vigilant and to also be very courageous. No? Parang pag may nakita, take evidence, take pictures, take video, and this can be used as evidence of vote buying. And malinaw naman yung batas. There are sanctions, there are people can be imprisoned from 1 to 6 years, and those who are guilty of vote buying can also be disqualified and banned from running again for public office. So make sure that in the coming May 13 elections, you are alert and you are out there watching out for vote buying. Thank you very much for joining us.